Emily and I first crossed paths about 7 years ago, and before long, we became close friends. Both of us had grown up in the Midwest, in homes where unwavering Christian faith was at the center of everything. God always came first, even before family. Sundays were reserved for church services and heartfelt talks about what the future might hold for us. I embarked on a successful career in engineering, with promising growth on the horizon, while Emily excelled at selling accounting software for a well-known tech company in Atlanta. Right after I graduated from college, my parents, who were quite well off, gifted me a 3-bedroom home. They believed in sharing their wealth while alive, rather than waiting until they passed on, which gave them a sense of fulfillment in giving. Emily and I tied the knot a little over 5 years ago, and life felt like one long honeymoon. Our intimate life was full of passion, and we made love at least 4 nights a week. People often saw us as the ideal couple, and our friends, secretly envious, joked about how inseparable we were. Things only got better when we were blessed with twin daughters, 2 beautiful little girls with golden blonde hair. Once the twins arrived, our priorities shifted, and we dedicated ourselves entirely to raising them in a home full of love and warmth. By most standards, our lifestyle was simple, maybe even boring. We usually ate dinner at home and only ventured out on Friday or Saturday nights. Sundays were always reserved for church. Unlike other couples our age, we didn't bother much with parties or the latest fashion trends. Emily's style was modest. At work, she wore conservative outfits, and at home, it was much the same. Our intimate moments were private and confined to the bedroom. Trust and openness were the cornerstones of our relationship. Emily was naturally affectionate, always showing her love through gentle touches, sweet kisses, and warm hugs. I cherished every bit of her affection, and we thrived on emotional intimacy. Parenting twins wasn't always easy, but I embraced every challenge with joy. Though it sometimes left Emily feeling overwhelmed, I did my best to support her through the tough moments. We had a solid partnership based on open communication, which helped us tackle problems head-on. Life was smooth sailing with Emily and the kids, until something happened that I never saw coming. A week before her company's annual exhibition, Emily got word that she would need to attend due to several coworkers falling sick. Despite trying to get out of it by contacting her boss, she ultimately had no choice but to go. She seemed genuinely upset, apologizing for having to leave us for 3 days and explaining how much she hated being away from us. I reassured her that we'd manage just fine in her absence, although we would miss her a lot. I even helped her pack and saw her off to the airport in the company-arranged limo. Our relationship had always been built on a foundation of trust and honesty. Emily had never given me any reason to suspect she was anything but loyal and devoted. We shared everything, our dreams, our struggles, and our responsibilities as parents. I never imagined she could betray me. That's why, when I received a text on the second night of the exhibition, I wasn't prepared for what it revealed. The message came from Mark, a colleague and friend who happened to be at a cybersecurity event in Atlanta. He mentioned seeing Emily at the exhibition and casually asked if I was attending the security conference too. His curiosity caught me off guard, and I replied that Emily was at a trade show in Atlanta, but I wasn't sure which one. Then Mark's next messages arrived, 2 photos and a short video. As I opened the first image, I froze. It showed Emily in a strikingly unfamiliar outfit, a dress far shorter than anything I'd ever seen her wear. The neckline plunged, revealing more of her than she'd ever shown, and she wore high heels I didn't recognize. Her makeup was flawless, and her hair looked professionally done. She looked stunning, almost unrecognizable. At first, I convinced myself it couldn't be her. Maybe it was someone who just looked a lot like Emily. I even chuckled to myself, thinking how I'd love for Emily to dress like that for me sometime. But my amusement quickly faded when I opened the next photo, a close-up of Emily sitting intimately close to Michael, one of her bosses. My heart pounded in my chest as I stared at the image, feeling a rising sense of dread. Then, the final blow came, a short video clip. In it, Emily was kissing Michael, her arms draped around his neck while his hand rested on her chest. In that moment, my entire world shattered. A torrent of emotions hit me: shock, betrayal, and despair. My hands trembled, my heart raced uncontrollably, and tears streamed down my face. I felt physically sick, overwhelmed by a wave of nausea. Mark, sensing my turmoil, sent another message. Hey, are you okay? What should I do? Want me to keep an eye on her? I dialed Emily's number, praying she'd pick up, but it rang several times before going to voicemail. I left a message, trying to sound normal, telling her we missed her and hoped she was having a good evening. I updated Mark, letting him know I had tried calling her. Mark's next message was apologetic. Alex, I'm really sorry. I saw her take her phone out of her purse, check the caller ID, and put it back without answering. I can't believe it's her. I've never seen her act like this before. I appreciated Mark's honesty and assured him he had done the right thing by letting me know. Thanks for being straight with me, Mark. You're a good friend. I'll handle it from here. Don't bother following her around. Just keep me updated if anything else happens. Mark asked if I was okay, and I gave him a candid answer. No, I'm not okay. Not even close. But I know what I have to do. I'll deal with it. This hurts like hell, but I'll figure it out. Thanks again, Mark. Anytime, buddy. You know I'm here if you need me. Take care of yourself, he replied. I expressed my gratitude once more before pouring a stiff drink and collapsing into the dimly lit living room. My world had unraveled in under 20 minutes, and I was left reeling, blindsided by it all. Until that moment, I had no reason to think anything was wrong in my marriage. Had this been going on for months? How could I have missed it? No, Emily never gave me any reason to doubt her. If anything, things between us had seemed stronger in recent months. Our connection had deepened, making the situation feel even more surreal. I couldn't make sense of it. Mark kept sending updates. Over the next hour, more photos and a video came through. One clip showed them dancing, Michael's hand resting low on her back. Another captured them kissing on the dance floor, oblivious to the world around them. Then came a photo of a deep, intimate kiss after the music had ended. At that point, I realized our marriage was over, but I still needed to understand what had gone wrong. Being an engineer, I tried to approach things logically. Over the next couple of days, I worked on a plan. Late one night, around 10 p.m., Emily called. I had just finished reviewing the last photo Mark sent when I saw her name pop up. Taking a deep breath, I answered, determined not to let on that I knew anything. Hey, sorry I missed your call earlier, she said. I was stuck at a dinner meeting and couldn't talk. I miss you so much, baby. Wish I could be there, cuddling under the covers with you. I miss you too, I responded, keeping my tone calm. I love you, and I'm glad you called. The girls are doing great. I'll send you some photos. They miss you and can't wait for you to come home. I tried to leave tomorrow, but my boss insisted I stay, she sighed. I hate being away. We'll celebrate when you get back, I reassured her. Are you done for the night? Yeah, just getting ready for bed now. Love you, baby. I'll call again tomorrow. Good night, Emily. I love you more than words can say, I said softly before hanging up. The tears came again. I meant every word. I loved her deeply. I wanted to believe this was all some terrible misunderstanding, but as I lay awake in bed, it became impossible to ignore the truth. My mind raced with questions. Was she really in her hotel room? Or was she with Michael again? A message from Mark soon answered that for me. A photo of Emily and Michael in a hotel lobby, locked in a passionate kiss. His hand was beneath her skirt, and her arms wrapped around his neck. They didn't look like co-workers. They looked like lovers. One last update for today, Mark texted. Looks like she's still busy. Let me know if you want me to stop. It's not your fault, I replied. She made her choices. Just leave her be. Thanks again. That night, I cried myself to sleep. The woman I had loved for years, the mother of my daughters, had betrayed me. Exhaustion finally pulled me under, though the pain still lingered. The next morning, Emily sent a string of affectionate texts filled with hearts, kisses, and sweet words. She said how much she missed me and the girls and hinted at an exciting night when she returned. When she came home, she was all smiles and affection, acting as though nothing had happened. For a moment, I questioned my own sanity. Could something be wrong with her? Was she unwell, or had she been drugged? Desperate for answers, I searched for logical explanations, but deep down, I knew better. I had to accept the truth and prepare for her return. Our conversations continued as usual. Emily spoke of how much she missed us and couldn't wait to come home. But beneath her loving words was a painful reality. I couldn't decide what hurt more, the betrayal itself or the lies she fed me so effortlessly. Both cut deep. After learning of the affair through Mark, I knew I had to act. Using my technical skills, I discreetly installed advanced tracking software on Emily's phone. Originally intended to help locate lost devices, the software also allowed for call recording, message tracking, and email logging. To keep things normal, I even helped Emily set it up under the guise of improving security. I never wanted to spy on her, but after everything, trust wasn't an option anymore. My priority was protecting my daughters and figuring out whether our marriage had any future left. Caring for our twins helped keep me grounded. Whether I was making breakfast or playing with dolls, those moments brought fleeting peace. If you've ever dealt with toddlers, you know keeping up with 2 3-year-olds is no small task. Around 2 p.m., I finally got the girls down for a nap. After cleaning up and taking a quick shower, I sat at the table and checked my phone. Emily had sent 6 more affectionate messages, letting me know she'd call around 5 p.m. I opened my laptop, logged into the cloud account linked to her phone, and braced myself for what I might find. What I saw made my stomach churn. Dozens of messages between Emily and Michael. One stood out, "You were amazing last night, baby. Can't wait for tonight." "Thanks, kitten," she replied. "Loved it too. Can we meet in my room before dinner?" "Sure," Michael wrote back. "But I need to call my husband first. I'll be ready by 5:15. Does your husband suspect anything?" "Not a chance," she assured him. "He thinks I adore him, and I'll keep it that way. We've kept this secret for 6 months, and he's clueless." I couldn't read another word. Rage consumed me, and I slammed my laptop shut, shaking with anger and disbelief. Kitten? Did he really call her that? That was my special name for her during our intimate moments. Did she hand that over to him too? How blind had I been? What kind of fool was I? Overcome by rage, I slammed my laptop shut and threw a lamp across the room, shattering it against the wall. The anger I had kept bottled up now consumed me completely. I was about to hurl another lamp when I heard the twins crying. Their distressed voices snapped me back to reality. Taking a deep breath, I rushed to their room, scooped them into my arms, and held them close until they calmed down. After settling them in the living room, I cleaned up the broken glass and sat with another stiff drink, reflecting on the storm that had become my life. To me, our marriage was now beyond saving. But I couldn't let my emotions take over. I needed a plan. I couldn't stomach listening to more recordings or reading any more messages, so I left the files untouched in the cloud. For now, I decided to play along with Emily, acting like the loving husband she thought she was deceiving, while secretly plotting my next move. Step 1 was to contact a divorce attorney. Step 2, hire a private investigator. My ultimate goal was to secure full custody of the twins. Their well-being was the only thing that mattered now. That evening, Emily called, her voice dripping with sweetness. "Hey, sweetheart. How are the girls? I miss them so much, and you too, of course. I can't wait to be back home and wrap my arms around you." I played along, forcing a smile into my voice. "We miss you too, darling. I think about you all the time, longing to hold my beautiful wife again. Soon, we'll be together." The call lasted exactly 15 minutes, and when she signed off with, "I love you, Alex. I have to catch the bus back to the hotel. I'll message you later," I responded with equal warmth. "I love you too, more than you know." Another lie, effortlessly delivered. She was remarkably skilled at deception, and it only fueled my growing contempt and desire for revenge. When I picked her up from the airport a few days later, she greeted me with a warm hug and a kiss, just as she had promised. Either she was an exceptional actress, or part of her truly cared for me. I couldn't tell if her affair with Michael was purely physical or if there was something more. Her behavior baffled me. She spent hours playing with the twins, delighting in their company, and that night she was especially affectionate in bed, repeatedly saying how much she had missed us. I returned her affection, savoring the moments with her, even as I knew the truth would soon destroy it all. I wanted to believe it was real, that maybe things could go back to the way they were. But deep down, I knew it was only a matter of time before everything unraveled. So, I kept up the charade, loving, attentive, and devoted, while quietly preparing for the inevitable end. To outsiders, we looked like the perfect couple. Friends envied how close we were. The act went on for 3 long months. I monitored her every move, searching for any sign of infidelity, but found none. She came home at her usual time every evening. No suspicious calls or messages. I even dared to hope it had all been a mistake and that things might resolve on their own. Then, one day, I got a call from Mr. Lawson, the private investigator I had hired. "Alex, good to see you again. I wish I had better news, but unfortunately, I don't. Are you ready to go over our findings?" He placed a thick leather binder on the table, filled with sections labeled text messages, voice transcripts, photos, and video calls. I took a deep breath. "Mr. Lawson, I've been watching her closely for 3 months, and she's been perfect. None of this makes sense." He nodded sympathetically. "Let me walk you through it, and perhaps things will become clearer." Despite my growing dread, I allowed him to proceed. I had avoided accessing the files in the cloud, clinging to the hope that somehow this would all have a positive outcome. But that hope vanished as Mr. Lawson opened the binder. There were over 75 pages of text messages, 25 pages of emails, and dozens of photos showing Emily and Michael entering and leaving motels together. They had been meeting at least 4 times a week for the past 3 months, spending around 2 hours together each time. But that wasn't the worst of it. Mr. Lawson flipped to another section. "Alex, this next part may come as a shock. There's evidence that she's not just involved with Michael. There's another man, Ryan Davis." My heart stopped. "Ryan Davis? You mean the CEO of her company?" "I'm afraid so. Based on text messages, phone calls, and video footage, it's clear she's been carrying on a second affair with him. There's even a video labeled balcony that captured them in an intimate moment, with him behind her as she leaned over the railing." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Emily wasn't just having an affair with her boss. She was also involved with the CEO of her company. My mind reeled as I tried to process the enormity of her betrayal. They seemed completely unaware of being recorded. The high-definition video showed close-ups of their faces, and the audio was crystal clear. On the large 80-inch screen, I saw Emily, my wife, leaning over a balcony railing while her CEO, Ryan Davis, stood behind her in an unmistakably intimate position. Nausea hit me, and I had to step out of the room to steady myself. After a few moments of pacing, I forced myself to go back inside. "Let's continue," I said, though my voice was unsteady. I needed to see it all, no matter how painful. Mr. Lawson hesitated, then played another video labeled Balcony 2. This one showed Emily with both Ryan and Michael simultaneously. "This footage was recorded in public," Lawson said, "so you can use it as evidence in court if you decide to proceed with a divorce or custody battle." I sat frozen, my mind racing. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. How could the woman I loved, the mother of my children, be involved in something so twisted? Lawson continued, "We did a background check on both men. Michael Turner has been married for 10 years and has 4 young children. Ryan Davis, your wife's CEO, has been married for 25 years and has 3 grown children. Based on the text messages, it appears Michael introduced Ryan after your wife expressed interest in a threesome." The words hit me hard. Emily had actually suggested this? I felt like I didn't even know her anymore. Lawson handed me a thick binder and a USB drive. "Here's all the evidence: text messages, emails, phone call transcripts, photos, and videos. Your lawyer will need this." Later, at my lawyer's office, she was stunned by the sheer amount of evidence. "Alex, this is overwhelming. I've handled many infidelity cases, but I've rarely seen anything this well documented. And you say there were no signs?" "None," I replied, shaking my head. "She's been playing the perfect wife and mother. I never suspected a thing." After discussing possible legal strategies, I instructed her to start filing for divorce immediately. Walking out of her office, I felt hollow. I had known our marriage was over, but seeing those videos extinguished any lingering hope I had for reconciliation. That evening, after putting the twins to bed, I suggested we watch a movie together. I picked Unfaithful, a film about infidelity. I've heard it's good, I said casually, hiding my real motive. I had chosen it carefully, knowing it would spark the kind of conversation I wanted. Halfway through the film, I casually mentioned a flirtatious intern at my office. Can you imagine me with another woman? I said with a chuckle. Emily's eyes narrowed. Who's this intern? If I ever catch you even thinking about being with someone else, I'm gone. Got it? You're mine. Her indignation was almost laughable given what I knew. Relax. She's just a kid. Nothing's going on. What about you, Emily? You're beautiful. Are you seriously telling me no one at work has ever flirted with you? Of course not, she said firmly. Everyone knows I'm married, and I'd never cheat on you. So, in all these years, you've never even thought about it? Not even something innocent, like a friendly kiss? She glared at me, clearly annoyed. Are you serious? I constantly show you how much I love you. I'm always faithful. I can't believe you'd even ask that. You're right. I'm sorry, I said, feigning guilt. She seemed satisfied with my apology, and we resumed the movie. Inside, though, I was fuming. If I hadn't seen the evidence myself, I would have believed her without question. She was that convincing. Later, when things calmed down, she leaned against my shoulder, and I knew it was time. I pulled out my phone and opened a photo of her and Michael on the dance floor, his hand on her behind. I stared at it for a moment before she noticed my distraction. What are you looking at? She asked. Something more real than this movie, I replied, showing her the image. Her face went pale. Where did you get that? She asked nervously. Mark Evans, I said flatly. He was at the restaurant where you were dining with Michael. He recognized you and sent this to me to confirm if it was really you. By the way, you looked stunning in that dress. Very different from what you wear at home. Were you trying to impress your boyfriend? Emily's hands trembled slightly. It's not what it looks like. He was drunk, and after the dance, he grabbed me and kissed me. I slapped him right after. And that was the only time? I asked, my voice steady and calm. Yes, baby. I swear it won't happen again. I understand. It happens. I let the matter drop, pretending to believe her. We finished the movie, but I could tell she was uneasy. After a few minutes, I picked up my phone again and began playing another video. This one showed Emily and Michael sitting on a couch, his hands sliding under her skirt. She noticed and shot me a panicked look. What are you watching now? She whispered. Remember when you called that night and said you were tired and heading to bed early? I asked. Funny thing, 2 hours later, Mark sent me this video. Care to see? I hit play, showing her and Michael kissing passionately, his hands wandering places that should have been mine alone. Emily stared at the screen, speechless. She knew her lies were starting to unravel, and there was no way out. I'm eager to hear a new explanation, I remarked, smiling slightly. My initial anger had faded, replaced by a mix of contempt and amusement at her attempts to explain herself. Emily's eyes widened as she began her next performance. Oh, Alex, I'm so sorry. After we hung up, Michael called and said we needed to discuss an issue with a client we were meeting in the morning. He asked me to meet him in the lobby to prepare. I barely remember this because I had a few drinks and got a bit drunk. You know how I get when I'm intoxicated. She paused, glancing at me for sympathy. I know the video looks bad, but nothing happened beyond that. I remember going to my room, telling him to stop, and reminding him I'm happily married. Nothing else happened. You have to trust me. That's part of the problem, kitten, I said, deliberately using the nickname. Her eyes flickered when she heard it, but I continued. I've always trusted you. Yet in the last 20 minutes, you've lied to me twice. Can you understand my perspective here? I'm alone at home, and I get photos of the woman I love kissing her boss while wearing the most revealing outfit I've ever seen her in. How do you think that makes me feel? Emily's voice trembled. Alex, I love you. This happened 3 months ago. Why didn't you confront me earlier? Honestly, I replied, keeping my tone neutral. I wanted to see if you'd come clean on your own. I needed to know if you were still the truthful, transparent woman I married. But now, I see where we stand. So, are there any other lies? Are you involved with him? Do you love him? Her face crumpled as she began sobbing. Alex, please. I love you. I never meant for this to happen. Nothing happened beyond what you saw, I swear. Stop telling me how much you love me, Emily, I said, my voice soft but firm. I know you love me, and I still love you. But that doesn't change the fact that those photos exist, and I need answers. Are there other deceptions? She sniffled, wiping her tears. Nothing beyond a kiss happened. I admit I kissed him, but it didn't go further. Every time he tried something, I told him to stop. I don't know what Mark saw or told you, but you have to believe me. All right, baby, stop crying, I said, pretending to relent. I trust you, but I'm curious, why the outfit? You never dress like that for me, and I've never seen you put that much effort into your hair and makeup. Was it for him? Emily fidgeted, clearly uncomfortable. No, Alex. I don't know why I dressed like that. Maybe because the other women were dressed similarly, and I felt insecure. I just wanted to fit in. I nodded slowly. Okay, I get that. But why didn't you tell me about Michael and your interactions? If nothing happened, why hide it? Because it was nothing. It ended right there, and I didn't want to upset you. He's my boss. I couldn't risk my job. You understand, right? I leaned in, kissed her, and pulled her into an embrace, letting her cry on my shoulder. This moment marked the beginning of my month-long plan for revenge. That night, we made love, and I detached myself emotionally, viewing it as nothing more than a performance on her part. She was fervent, more eager than usual, as if trying to convince me of her devotion. I played along, enjoying her attempts to salvage our relationship. Over the following weeks, her efforts intensified. Every night, she played the role of a devoted, loving wife flawlessly, and I pretended to buy into it. In reality, I was savoring every moment of her charade, knowing it would all come crashing down soon enough. The next morning, I checked the cloud for any messages or correspondence with Michael. Unsurprisingly, I found plenty. One message from Emily read, "Oh my God. Someone took photos of us at the fair and sent them to Alex. His friend saw me at the restaurant without him. I don't know if Alex knows everything, but the video showed us kissing." Michael replied, "Damn. Now that you mention it, I remember seeing some guy with a phone across from us, but I didn't think much of it." How did Alex react? Nothing. I convinced him nothing happened. I told him I'd had too many drinks, and he bought it. A few kisses and good lovemaking always do the trick with him. Be careful, baby. We're meeting tomorrow at 1 p.m. as usual, right? Of course. Can't wait. Love you, baby, Michael responded. Love you too, kitten, Emily replied. I closed the app and sat silently, absorbing it all. I felt like the world's biggest fool. Yet, beneath the humiliation, I felt satisfaction. Revenge was now inevitable, and I would see it through. I would wait, observe, and let Emily dig herself deeper. My first step was handling my finances. I transferred funds, closed joint accounts, and made sure she wouldn't have access to anything significant. I kept my main credit card active, but lowered its limit to $2,500 to prevent any major spending sprees. Since Emily remained blissfully unaware of my growing anger, she didn't notice the subtle changes. I confirmed with my lawyer that the house, being a premarital asset, would remain mine, meaning I wouldn't have to leave when the divorce was filed. Then, I began drafting the infamous email. It included all the evidence, videos, texts, photos, and was addressed to all of Emily's contacts, friends, family, and coworkers. Additionally, I prepared identical binders for Mrs. Davis and Mrs. Turner, the wives of Ryan and Michael, ensuring they would receive the evidence simultaneously when everything went public. I instructed my lawyer to prepare civil lawsuits against both Michael and Ryan for their involvement with my wife. Given the company's high profile on the East Coast, my lawyer was eager to involve the CEO. We planned to propose a settlement before exposing the CEO and manager's alleged inappropriate conduct with employees. Working alongside child services attorneys, we aimed for full custody of the twins and diligently compiled all necessary documents for the investigation. Over the next few weeks, life appeared normal on the surface. Emily and I spent quality time together with the children every day. Our conversations carefully avoided the looming issue, though I was certain the silence was tormenting her. The uncertainty of what I knew or thought must have been agonizing for her, driving her close to madness. To further unsettle her, I occasionally posed subtle but pointed questions. So, Emily, has your boss said or done anything strange since the fair? Anything you'd like to share? Having already read her messages with Michael, I knew the truth, but I marveled at how smoothly she maintained her facade. Her calm response was almost impressive. No, Alex. Nothing's happened. He's remained professional, and we barely interact since we're both so busy. I smiled wryly, still amazed that the woman I loved, the mother of my children, could lie so effortlessly. She seemed completely unaware that her lies only fueled my resolve. That night, something shifted. I let go of the last remnants of my simmering anger. I decided to fully embrace the moment, knowing it would be our last intimate encounter before everything unraveled. I took full advantage of her, letting go of all inhibitions. Emily was surprised by my boldness. "Oh my God, Alex. What's gotten into you? You're wild tonight. I've never seen you like this," she laughed, breathless. I didn't respond, but in my mind, I knew this was my way of marking the end. Tomorrow, everything would change, and I intended to make the most of my final night with her. The next afternoon, while Emily was at work, the sheriff walked into the headquarters of Tricom International and requested to see Mr. Davis. Minutes later, the sheriff handed him an envelope. "Mr. Davis, you've been served." Davis waited until the sheriff left before retreating to his spacious office, fear tightening in his chest as he read the complaint over and over. He immediately called Michael. "Ryan, get to my office now." Moments later, Michael stormed in, looking equally shaken. He had just been served as well. "What the hell, Ryan? How did this happen?" Davis barked. "If my wife gets wind of this, I'm done. You assured me she'd never leave us. Fix this, or I'll destroy you and your family. Do you understand?" Davis's fury was palpable. He was a ruthless businessman who had clawed his way to the top of a multi-billion-dollar corporation and wasn't about to let a scandal ruin him. Michael, equally panicked, rushed out of the office and headed straight for Emily's desk. As he walked down the hallway, he noticed the sheriff coming from her direction. Bursting into her office, he found Emily seated at her desk, tears streaming down her face. She was overwhelmed, barely able to speak. Alex had shattered her world, just as she had shattered his months ago. It took her over an hour to gather herself enough to speak coherently. "Michael, what's going on? How did Alex find out about everything?" Michael paced nervously. "I don't know. I just got served with divorce papers, and now Davis and I are facing a civil lawsuit. We don't know the extent of the evidence, but it's clearly more than just the 2 photos you saw. You have to talk to Alex. Make him back off. If Davis's wife hears about this, it'll ruin us both." "Oh my God, this is terrible," Emily whispered, trembling. "This can't be happening. I'll go home and talk to him. I'll make him see reason. I can't lose him over this." Emily hastily packed her things and left the office, her heart pounding with dread. She couldn't believe this was happening. Despite her betrayal, she didn't want a divorce. She loved Alex deeply. Yet, she couldn't deny that she had been drawn to the thrill of forbidden excitement. Now, she needed to convince Alex that their marriage was worth saving. Returning home, she found the house empty. The girls were at Alex's sister's house as they were every afternoon while Emily and Alex worked. She called his sister and asked if she could keep the girls overnight. Without hesitation, Rachel agreed. Emily then showered, carefully styled her hair, and applied makeup, preparing herself for what she hoped would be a chance to mend things with her husband. At 6 o'clock, she heard the garage door open and anxiously waited for Alex to enter. Her heart pounded as he walked in. "Hi, Emily," he said flatly. "Didn't expect to see you tonight. Thought you'd be with Michael." "Oh, wait. He's married with kids. That might get awkward." "Alex, please. Let's talk," she said softly, taking his hand and leading him to the sofa. Despite the tension, she appeared unusually calm and composed, almost more pleasant than usual. Alex noticed but remained silent, waiting to hear what she had to say. Expecting this approach, Alex played along. "Alex, as you know, I was served today, but I don't want a divorce. I need you. I love you. I won't sign those papers," Emily said desperately. "Michael means nothing to me. Yes, we had encounters, but it wasn't love. I just needed it, and I'm so sorry. I'll never do it again. I promise. Oh, you promise? Well, that's all I needed to hear. I guess I can trust you now. Sure, let's forget everything and go back to normal, Alex said with a sarcastic smile, his tone dripping with fake affection. Emily, either too naive or too desperate, hugged him tightly and kissed him. Thank you, baby. I love you so much. I'm grateful you forgive me and understand. I won't lie to you again. Surprised by her obliviousness to his sarcasm, Alex pulled away, gently pushing her aside. His tone turned cold. You're delusional. I can't trust you anymore. After all your lies and deceit, there's nothing left. I gave you plenty of chances, but you kept lying, deceiving me, and ruining our lives. Emily's face fell, her composure crumbling as Alex continued. I know all about your daily hotel meetups with your bosses. Did you seriously think I wouldn't find out? Did you even consider the damage you're causing the girls? This isn't just about us. It's about them too. Emily tried to defend herself, but Alex cut her off. And why am I going after Davis and Michael? Well, since your little partners in crime are wealthy CEOs of a multi-billion-dollar company, they'll be footing the bill for the life you've ruined. Once I'm out of this mess, I'll need money to support the girls properly. Since they helped destroy my marriage, I'll destroy them too. I plan to dismantle their families and hit them where it hurts. Emily had never seen Alex so angry, so focused. The seriousness of the situation finally struck her, and she realized she had lost control of both the situation and her husband. Overwhelmed, she fell to her knees, clutching his legs, begging for forgiveness. Tears streamed down her face as she pleaded with him to reconsider. Though Alex felt a flicker of sympathy, his anger quickly smothered it. He lifted her gently and placed her on the sofa. Speaking in a calm, almost detached tone, he said, Listen, Emily. Pack your things and stay at your mom's for a few nights. Get yourself a lawyer. We'll arrange a meeting to discuss everything. And one more thing. I strongly suggest you stay away from Michael and Davis. Things are about to get messy. Later that evening, Emily arrived at her mother's house, explaining that she and Alex had a disagreement and she needed a place to stay. At 11 p.m., she called Michael, who quickly looped Ryan into a three-way call. Ryan, are you on? Michael asked. Yes. Emily, are you there? Ryan replied impatiently. Yes, I'm here, she responded nervously. Emily, Ryan started. Did you manage to convince Alex to drop the lawsuits and the divorce? No. In fact, he kicked me out of the house and warned me to be careful because things might escalate. Ryan cursed under his breath. Jesus Christ, Michael. What the hell have you done? Emily, this is a disaster. If my wife finds out, I'm finished. Michael, you assured me this woman wouldn't leave us exposed. Fix this, or I swear I'll ruin both of you. Emily, now crying, said, I can't do anything. He's out of control. He won't listen to me, and he's ignoring my calls and texts. Ryan snapped, Michael, set up a meeting with Alex. Somewhere loud. A bar, a noisy courtyard. Anywhere we can control the conversation. Emily, you'll be there too. Ask him in front of us to drop the lawsuit. If he refuses, we'll explain to him exactly how bad things could get for him and his family if he doesn't back down. I have people who can handle situations like this, and I won't hesitate to use them. Do you both understand? Yes, Mr. Davis, Michael said quickly. Yes, Mr. Davis, Emily echoed nervously. Good. Make it happen tomorrow afternoon. We don't have time to waste. With that, Davis ended the call abruptly. Michael and Emily stayed on the line for a few more minutes, discussing how to handle the situation. Meanwhile, Alex, who had overheard the entire call through his surveillance, wasn't surprised by their desperation. He immediately began formulating his own counterplan. The next morning, as expected, Michael called to propose a meeting. They arranged to meet at 6 p.m. in a busy courtyard. By 4 p.m., Alex was at his private investigator's office, reviewing their plan. Using advanced noise cancellation technology, the investigator ensured they could capture clear audio even in a loud environment. A hidden camera would also be used to film the meeting, providing indisputable evidence. At 6:15 p.m., Alex arrived, deliberately late, giving the investigator enough time to set up. As he approached the group, he noticed Emily sitting with Michael and Davis. He greeted them with a smug smile. "Emily, I'm surprised to see you here with your partners. But I suppose we know where your allegiance lies." He turned to the two men. "Gentlemen, what's the occasion? Why are we here?" Ryan Davis, ever the businessman, stepped forward. "Alex, I'm Ryan Davis. I requested this meeting." Alex eyed him coldly. "Davis, you look quite different in person. These videos don't really capture your essence. Can't say it's a pleasure to meet you." Davis's expression tightened, but he maintained his composure. "Indeed, that's precisely why we're here. This is Michael Turner." Alex's gaze shifted to Michael. "Michael, the man who slept with my wife and wrecked my marriage. Can't say it's a pleasure meeting you either." Davis cleared his throat. "Look, Alex, I understand your anger. If I were in your shoes, I don't know how I'd react. But we need to have a conversation." Alex crossed his arms. "What's on your mind?" Davis wasted no time. "We want you to drop the lawsuits against me, Michael, and the company." Alex smirked. "Funny, that's all?" "Oh no, sorry. Can't do that," Alex said, smiling coldly. "Someone has to pay for taking away the most important thing in my life." He looked directly at Emily, who began to cry, finally grasping the full extent of the damage she had caused. "The only woman I've ever loved and the mother of my children," Alex continued. "You threw it all away for a fling." Emily sobbed quietly as Ryan tried to regain control of the situation. "What will it take for you to end this and take Emily back? Name your price." Alex laughed bitterly. "Firstly, no amount of money could ever make me take her back. She betrayed my love, my trust, and our children's lives for a cheap thrill. That's out of the question. But I'll tell you what, it'll take two things for me to drop the lawsuits. 1. $5 million in compensation. 2. I want to meet both your wives, and Emily must admit to everything in front of them." Ryan's face contorted in anger. "Go to hell, Alex. I'll give you $100,000, and you'll sign a non-disclosure agreement. You won't say a word about this ever again," he whispered menacingly. "If my family finds out, I'll make sure you disappear. Emily already told us your routine. Making you vanish wouldn't be difficult." Alex was taken aback by the threat, but smiled, unfazed. Taking a sip of his drink, he responded calmly, "Well, in that case, I'll lower my demand to $4 million. But your families will still know. You don't get to buy your way out of this that easily." Ryan's expression turned murderous. "You're sealing your fate, Alex. Think it over. Drop the charges. Take Emily back. It was just a fling. We can resolve this." Alex didn't respond. Instead, he casually pulled out his phone, sent 2 prearranged text messages, and opened his email. With a single tap, he dispatched the email containing all the videos, photos, and messages to Emily's friends, family, and coworkers. Meanwhile, the 2 couriers stationed outside Ryan and Michael's homes received their instructions. Deliver the packages. Within minutes, both Mrs. Davis and Mrs. Turner had received comprehensive binders containing irrefutable evidence of their husband's infidelity, photos, texts, phone logs, and videos. Ryan and Michael's phones began ringing almost simultaneously. Seeing their wives' names on the screen, both men paled. "What the hell, Alex? Are you even listening to me?" Ryan growled. "Are you dropping the charges?" Alex turned to him, his expression calm but resolute. "Ryan, Michael, and Emily, my answer is simple. Go to hell." Just then, Ryan's phone buzzed again. His wife was on the line. He glared furiously at Alex before answering, only to hear her screaming on the other end. Michael's reaction was no different. He looked visibly shaken, tears welling up in his eyes. Emily, bewildered by the sudden chaos, turned to Alex. "What's happening? What did you do?" Alex's response was cryptic. "Check your email in a few minutes, and you'll understand." Ryan ended the call with his wife and pointed an accusing finger at Alex. "You're dead, Alex. I'll slit your throat and watch you bleed out." With that, Ryan stormed out of the bar, furious. Michael, trembling, confronted Alex. "Why? Why would you do this to me?" Alex stared at him, incredulous. "Why? You've been sleeping with my wife, the mother of my twin daughters, For 6 months, you've been sneaking around with Davis, arranging secret meetings, and ruining lives. And now you're surprised that someone fought back? Michael said nothing, his face pale. Meanwhile, Emily's phone began ringing. Her sister, brother, and aunt were all calling, bombarding her with questions after seeing the videos and photos. At first, she denied everything, but when she finally checked her email, her face turned white. She shot Alex an angry glare. "How could you do this to me?" she whispered, voice trembling with disbelief. "You made it too easy," Alex said calmly. "Darling, I truly love you, but it's over. After I hand over this audio recording of our meeting to the authorities and child services, my lawyer is confident I'll gain full custody of the girls. You'll be lucky if you manage to avoid prison." Emily broke down in tears, but Alex remained unmoved. "I'm sorry, Emily, but actions have consequences." Tricom International settled the lawsuit by paying Alex $2 million. Ryan Davis was removed as CEO and terminated without severance, losing over $10 million in stock options and forfeiting a $5 million exit package. Shortly afterward, he was convicted of conspiracy to commit homicide and sentenced to 5 years in prison. His wife divorced him, took everything in the settlement, and left him destitute. By the time Davis was released from prison, he was homeless, broke, and without a family. Michael Turner didn't fare much better. His wife divorced him, and he was ordered to pay child support and alimony, losing half his income. He was also fined $1 million in a civil suit for conspiracy and infidelity. After being fired, Michael struggled to find work and eventually ended up as a day laborer, living under an overpass. Learning of his downfall gave Alex a grim sense of satisfaction. Emily, meanwhile, received a 5-year sentence for conspiracy, but with Alex's intervention, it was reduced to 1 year of house arrest and 4 years of probation. She lost custody of the twins, and Alex gained full custody. Since the house was legally his, Emily was left homeless and moved into her mother's basement. She spiraled into a deep depression, rejected by her family and denied visitation rights to see her children. The email Alex sent exposed Emily's betrayal to everyone she knew. Her family disowned her, and forgiveness seemed unattainable, even from herself. She attempted self-harm several times and spent months in and out of mental health facilities, struggling to come to terms with the damage she had caused. Now, Alex dedicates all his time to his daughters. Free from work after the divorce settlement, he focuses entirely on raising them. With the support of his sister and mother, the girls are thriving and slowly healing from the trauma. Though revenge brought a fleeting sense of satisfaction, it didn't fully heal Alex's wounds. He still harbors love for Emily, but the memory of her betrayal lingers. Caring for his daughters keeps him occupied, though the scars of deceit have made it difficult for him to trust again. It will take years before he can open his heart to love. It's remarkable how seemingly small choices can have such devastating ripple effects on so many lives. Caution is always advised.